Hey guys, going live. It's Wednesday, January 3rd, 2018, and a blizzard is upon us. First major possible snowstorm here in the Northeast, the New Jersey, New York, tri-state area is what they call it here in America. Winter storm, it's going to be frigid temperatures, possibly up to 6 inches or more. I'm not sure, depending on what part of the area you're in. But either way, I like to go live every day. When I'm on my normal schedule, it's Wednesday through Saturday, sometime between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., and Sunday through Tuesday around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Every live feed, I pick a specific topic that I like to talk about. And as live viewers come in, I'll read their comments. We'll have dialogue. And we can talk about anything: sex, politics, religion, etc. And we just go from there. But I want to talk about first cold car living. Hey, it's Miss Kimberly. How are you? It's cold everywhere. I was just when I was at work today, I was talking to someone from Dallas, Texas, an engineer down there, and he was saying it was even cold for them down in Texas. Unusually cold. He said it was like 20 degrees. So I said, well, it's like negative. So it feels like negative 20 in the New Jersey, New York area. But good to see you. How was your day? It's Miss Kimberly. Are you cold? This is definitely not rookie car living. It's Miss Kimberly on the live comments. She's from Houston, Texas. She says it's so cold. Oh my God. It was cold last night. Last night was one of the coldest nights I spent living in my car. Been living in my car for about a year. Those who don't know, I live full-time in my Jeep Renegade. And last night it got cold. When I checked the thermostat or whatever, I checked the temperature this morning in my car, it said 8 degrees, but I'm sure it felt like -8 because with the wind chill and with the air, with the moisture in the air, etc. It was cold. I was layered up. I had all my blankets on, but it was still cold. I didn't start my car. I could have, but I just chose not to. But I feel good. I'm very thankful. I made it through. I feel good. I had a productive day at work. Today was my first day back at work after about 3 weeks down in Florida. So it's just getting used to that again. But it was good to get back into a routine and flow and take care of business. And it's Miss Kimberly said, hell yeah, it was cold. And then she says it was in the 20s. Yeah, I spoke to a guy down in Dallas. That's what he was saying. And then Miss Kimberly says, do you think about getting a hotel? Yeah, I was thinking about getting one tonight. There was even different things offered with my job to get one to be in the area. So I have that on the table. I haven't decided yet. I just got done with my dinner. I had my salad, my tofu. I just had a Starbucks. So I don't know. I'm going to sit here. I want to do my live feed because even though it's been a long day at work, getting used to it, it's a little bit tough. This is like my first day being back in the office for 10 hours. Usually I'm just used to roaming around the beach. But I have energy, so I want to do my live feed. I like to be consistent. Consistency is the key to all success in life. And so I don't know. I'll make that determination after my live feed. I have options. Either I'll do a hotel room, I'll bundle up. We'll see. I'm not sure. I have the option, though. It's on the table, so it's possible. In one sense, I don't even like the process of checking in a hotel room. But we'll see. That's what I want to kind of talk about tonight. Cold car living. That's the first subject I want to talk about tonight. Because like I said, it's cold throughout the entire country right now. Well, at least in the United States of America. I know we get viewers from the UK and across the world. But there's a cold front. It's just about to pass. But for the New Jersey, New York area, there's actually a blizzard warning in effect with regards to the cold air, the winds, and we're possibly going to get maybe 6 inches of snow between today and tomorrow. So I've lived in this area my whole life. So I'm 37 years old. So to me, it's not like the end of the world. Now, when I was talking, like I know Miss Kimberly's from Texas. Like when I was talking to the guy in Texas today, for them it's unusual, and they're not used to layering up this much, and they're not used to that type of cold weather. It's 20 degrees down in Texas approximately. So, but for me, it's cold. I hate it. It sucks. But at the same time, I'm used to it. I know what it is. I grew up my whole life in this area. So every year, every winter it gets cold as hell. Every winter it snows. Every winter there's blizzard warnings. Every winter, you go through that. This is, right now I'm circling just about a full year in a car. Last night, I would say last night was the coldest night I lived in my car. But, not an issue. It's Miss Kimberly says, last year was hot in December and January. It was. I started last year full-time in February. It was at certain points, but it's, well, for Texas. I'll say for Texas, I'm sure that you guys were. That's what it's Miss Kimberly speaking on. But for us, we had a little bit of a warm, for New Jersey, New York area, we'd have a little bit of a warm winter in the beginning of last winter, but it got cold. So how do you deal with it? I mean, it's one is you have to layer up. That's number one. You have to have the under layers. But two, you gotta have a scarf, and you gotta have a head warmer and a couple pairs of socks. Last night my feet got really cold. I'd put like 3 pairs of thermal socks on. I actually got two. Where is it at? Do I have it? I got from Christmas. When I came back to New Jersey, somebody gave me a pair of socks, thermal socks. Can you guys see that? 2 pairs. I guess it's from Walmart. So I was thankful for that. So they're supposed to be like extra thermal. So I could put these on too. I had a couple pair on last night. My feet were a little cold. Do I use hot hands? No, I've seen them. I don't. But I do have like hot hands. Not necessarily that brand, but I have like real heavy duty gloves that I'll put on. My hands weren't cold last night. It was my feet that were cold. And my body, it's just a little bit of a shiver, because the air was cold last night. Like always, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. are the coldest hours of the night. No doubt about it. And Miss Kimberly said they have hot hands. They also have some type of hot hands, some type of hot feet type, I guess like heated socks. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, overall, I'm thankful. Like I said, if it gets real cold, it's actually warmer tonight than it was last night. And it's supposed to be, and I say warm, it's like 20 degrees right now. It's supposed to stay around that range. It's going to get like down to 5 degrees tonight and then back up to the 30s tomorrow. It's going to stay in that range until Friday because we're going to get snow. It's going to stay around 30. If it was too cold, it wouldn't snow. It'd just be ice. But the coldest day up here on Friday and Saturday, it's supposed to get down to like -10 at night. So that's, when you have to, take the proper precautions. And if, yes, you do need to go into a hotel, you go into a hotel. Dana on the live check-in. Hey, Dana, I was thinking about you, sweetheart. Thank you for always being kind. Hello to you. Hope you had a good day with the doggies. Dolores D from New Hampshire. Let's see what's going on in New Hampshire. She says, I have cold feet a lot. We are expecting a doozy of a storm. Yay. Yes, it's a blizzard, high wind, extreme cold warning here in the tri-state New Jersey, New York area. They just sent one out. And we do have snow coming into our area, approximately maybe 6 to 10 inches. Now, you never know how the wind blows, but it's going to be cold. It was cold last night. So, obviously, even if you're in your house, they give you that warning, right? So, you have to be mindful of that and taking care of yourself well, bundling up, put your heat on, don't be crazy. But, you always have options, for any nomads out there that do listen, and I know we do have a few, please, like it's Miss Kimberly said, if you do feel like it's too cold, then just get a hotel room. I mean, you're saving a lot of money already. I have that in my back pocket. It's Miss Kimberly says she wonders about the homeless people living in the cold weather. Like I said, I've worked with the homeless people years past, and I mean, really, and last night, I mean, I'm in the shelter of my car, but I run no heat. So it's like I feel the same thing as if I would basically sleep on a street corner. I mean, it's no different. So the answer is the same thing. You just layer up. You just layer up. I was actually talking to another guy at work today. He was in last week when he was on his winter break. He likes the cold weather. He went up to Vermont, and he was driving to this remote spot, and he saw a guy in his 30s that was like hiking hiking in like blizzard conditions up in the mountains, and he was up there for like 2 weeks. No heat and just raw camping, and that's all he did. Of course, he had like serious gear. He had like, I don't know, whatever they call it, like sub-zero sleeping blankets, thermal, clothing. I mean, but he was raw camping in the mountains in extreme cold weather. So, these things can be done. The main thing is wearing the proper clothing. I mean, you're going to be uncomfortable, but you're not going to, you won't hurt yourself if you layer up properly. And there are shelters out there for homeless if you really couldn't afford anything. I've been part of them. I've worked with them. So there's different avenues. But like I said, from my experience, there's some people, even like myself, not that I'm home, but even like myself, like I don't want to go into a hotel room. I don't know. There's something to be said, and some people will never understand it, for the mental thing of I like just being on my own. I don't even like checking into a hotel room, even when my work has the option to pay for it. You understand what I'm saying? To keep certain people in the area in case they need, for support or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. Your health is always your number one thing, so you have to take care of your health, and you have to make sure you're doing well. Dana, she says, I have a few days off. Good. You've been working hard. You worked all the whole holidays. And then I have 3-week long job. Well, it's all about balance. And, one is just enjoy your time off, Dana, because you worked hard over the holidays. And, you just enjoy some you time. You've been putting in a lot of work. And you have to recharge your batteries, take time for yourself and rest and, do fun things. What are you going to do for your time off? You going to do anything that inspires you? You going to go anywhere special? You going to do anything special? But also, and I'm kind of just going to freestyle a little bit, also in addition to like cold car living, just want to talk a little bit tonight about priorities. My mom called me today. She had to get an MRI. She's almost 70. She's overweight. She has diabetes, and she has extreme arthritis in her 2 knees. And her one knee is like really going. She almost needs to get a knee replacement, but she's a little bit scared, and rightfully so, to get a knee replacement because she's older, she's overweight, and the recovery time on that for her condition would be about 18 months. And you'd basically be bedridden for her age and her condition. And so, but either way, the first step was just to go, Dana says that her birthday is Saturday, so she will take herself out to lunch. I love that. Take good care of yourself. That's a good New Year's Eve or New Year's period priority. Make yourself a priority. We're going to talk about that tonight, priorities. Priorities are doing things in the manner of which you want to organize your life. And nothing is more important than taking care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, Dana, you can't take care of your doggies. And we got to have you in North Carolina taking care of those dogs. So one, Dana, I know you're supposed to never ask a woman, but you guys know me, I kind of play by the rules a little bit. One is, only if you want to share, how old are you? And what are you going out to lunch? Are you going to go to Mexican food, Italian food? You're going to go to McDonald's? What's your favorite thing that you're going to go out to lunch? What are you going to eat? And D, also, Isthmus Kimberly says happy early birthday, and Dolores from New Hampshire also says happy birthday to you, Dana. But, priorities. So, as I was saying, my mom called me today. She was really scared and in pain because when she went to get the MRI, if you ever got an MRI, you sit like in a cylinder and they give you a ball or like an emergency button to press if you get in pain or if you feel anxious because you're in a confined space. And she was saying, she called me right after, I could hear the fear and the pain in her voice that she said, Sam, I was only by the grace of God did she able to get that MRI, because her body, to stay in that one position like that and with all her arthritis was very painful and also, very scary to be in that situation. And so, she's just going to take it one step at a time and see what the MRI says. But I'm saying all that to say, part of, her physical condition is obviously, what she eats, her age, etc. But priorities. Everyone in the New Year's, everybody tends to make a priority to be more healthy, to eat better, etc., etc. And you need to. Your health should be your number one priority. And Dana says on a live comments, she will be 62. God bless you, Dana. She says, I feel like I am in my 30s. Well, that's good. God has blessed me with great genes. Amen. Yeah, part of life is genes. That's right. But take care of yourself. Like I said, my mom, I think she's close, just about 70. And, she may have to get knee replacements. So what I want to share with you is don't let this cold weather just make you, I know it's tempting to just stuff your face and just not walk and not get outside or not do whatever. But you have, taking care of yourself. First with what you eat, and two is how you move your body. Meaning if you're going, I know two guys in their 30s, great guys, they're in great condition, they're not really overweight or anything really. And one guy had a knee surgery, another guy is going to have back surgery. So, in addition to food, don't forget, don't torque your body in harmful ways. Meaning if you're going to lift something heavy, bend your knees. If you're going to reach for something, don't twist. Because when you twist, you put extreme pressure on your spine. Turn around. Don't twist, turn around. And when you lift heavy stuff, lift with your knees, not with your back. And so I want us to be mindful of priorities. And your health is your number one priority. And taking good care of yourself is a priority. Because everything else is going to revolve around that in your life. All your relationships, all your business, all your personal dreams, all your desires, everything. And Dana says on the live comment, she is blessed with great health. That is a blessing. She says she's take no medications. Well, that's another blessing. And she has been working since she was 12 years old and still can't sit still. Amen. I believe God blesses the diligent person, the person who is productive. I believe that. I've seen that throughout my life, in my life and in the life of other people, that they don't, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to make $1 million a year. But I have seen, and that's what the Bible says, the hand of the diligent is blessed. The hand of the diligent is prosperous. Meaning someone who keeps busy and stays productive and stays engaged, they do okay. As far as income and in their life, and that's a priority too, is staying productive. That's all ties into living a well life. Of course, you heard me so many different times on this channel talking about it's not just about living cheap, because it isn't. I don't believe you live well if you just live a simple life but you're not productive. Certainly I believe in freedom, financial freedom, so you can do more creative things that you want to do rather than being a slave to your job. But certainly, there's never going to be a season in your life where you want to totally indulge in nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And so part of a priority is staying productive in different manners. They're not just necessarily punching a clock for 9 to 5. Like Dana has a unique job, where she, works with animals on different schedule. Miss Kimberly does salon work, so I'm sure she has flexibility in her schedule. And some people are retired, but even when you're retired, you can do creative things and volunteer and do, John's on the check-in. John from New Jersey. Good evening, everyone. John, it's a winter warning on the coastal areas. It's going to be a blizzard, possibly. Not necessarily snow, but negative degrees, -10, high winds, and tonight into tomorrow, possibly 6 inches of snow or more. So, brother, you're living on a boat. John's living on a boat full time. Please bundle up. Be careful with those high winds because you're right off the ocean. And take care of yourself well. John started a new job. John, how's your new job going, brother? I was thinking about you. Dana says, my foster mom is 90. Oh, God bless her. She works 6 days a week for part-time of the year. Praise the Lord. That's an awesome testimony, Dana. My mom, at 70 years old, she still works part-time at a supermarket. And I say, God bless her. I give her a lot of credit for that. She does it. She tells me, she goes, Sam, it's really, in one sense, not worth it for the money she gets paid. In one sense, I mean, you're thankful for every bit of money, but the main thing is to keep her mind active. Because keeping your mind productive is part of living well, especially when you're older. And because when you're older, you have a lot of time on your hands. You tend to, and most people that are in the middle age or younger, they're running around trying to make their claim into this world and trying to get their family going, their career going. And, people don't have time for you. And, your mind, can really take you to a dark place. And that's why my mom was struggling at one time with depression a little bit. And she said, Sam, I know sometimes, she pushes herself physically to still work, but she says it's the best thing for my mind because I can't just sit in the house. My mind, it's not healthy for me. And I respect that. I mean, I always tell her, be careful. I worry about her. But this is what I'm all saying is that priorities and taking care of yourself is number one priority. And especially now with this cold weather, all my nomads and everyone, period, you live in a house. When you have extreme weather, just be mindful, not to slip on ice, to wear a scarf when you're outside. I'm in my car now. I got my heat on low. I may even spend a night in a hotel room tomorrow, tonight, or the night after. I'm not sure. So I'm going to do my live feed tonight and then play it by ear. But I have the flexibility, and that's what I say to all my nomads, anyone living out of a car, etc., is that you have extra money, you don't have rent, you don't have a mortgage, don't be too cheap. And if you need to spend a night in a hotel, do it, because taking care of yourself is top priority. Never forget that. Let me go back to some live comments. Oh, NDC, subscribe to the Positive Vibe. Hey, NDC. NDC has had some great thoughtful, thought-provoking comments the last couple live feeds, and I really enjoyed his perspective. Welcome, NDC. Hope you had a good day, brother. NDC says it's negative 30 Celsius. Now, I don't know the conversion because in America and in the United States, they use Fahrenheit. But NDC says negative 30 Celsius here in Canada tomorrow. Here in the New Jersey, New York area is supposed to be, I don't know. It's not supposed to be too bad tomorrow. 25 degrees during the day, 5 degrees at night. Then the day after, it's going to be negative 10 Fahrenheit. But Celsius, I'm not sure, but that's cold. But the other thing I would say, NDC, you've probably been born and raised in Canada, so I'm sure you guys are accustomed to that. Now, do you live in an apartment, a house, or do you live mobile, NDC? Dana says, I will work until the good Lord takes me home. Amen. She says, I will take time to have fun. Amen. Nomad life is right down the road for me. Amen. I like that vision. I like that dream. Now, you bring up a great point, Dana. One is she's staying productive. That's the first point. The second point is she has a dream or a vision of being a nomad. Now, sometimes I would kind of get a little frustrated with people that they would have this dream and they wouldn't go after it. Now, of course, I preach that, and I see Dana's going after it. But, recently what the Lord's been really showing me, and one guy that I watched on YouTube, he kind of even alluded to it today. Look, even if you don't do your dream, sometimes life is just better. Even if you never go after your dream, it's better to at least dream. At least it makes your days go by better. It makes you more excited about life. Now, I have mixed feelings. I like to actually try to live my dream. I like to encourage others not to just fantasize about it. But I also starting to appreciate that some people are just never going to do it. And so I do see the value of, even if you think, you may not be able to fulfill your dream or live it, I see value in you daydreaming and visualizing and fantasizing about things that inspire and excite you. When I heard that today, I reflected on Ray's Boom Boom Room in Life. And I know I mentioned that before, the movie Life. It was time where they were all in jail and they were fantasizing about being in a club rather than being locked up in jail. And Martin was very pessimistic about it. He's one of the actors in the movie. And Eddie Murphy was, and the rest of the guys that were fantasizing, they said, be quiet, let us have our moment, basically. And so what I'm learning through life is, I know a lot of people won't go after their dream. That's reality. So I want you to go after your dream, but I want to be honest, too, that even if you don't go after your dream, I want you to visualize it. I want you to at least get a little bit excited about life. I want you to visualize yourself doing the thing that you would love to do the most, whether it's being a nomad, whether it's, being a CEO, whether it's being a care, whatever you want to do. There is value in just daydreaming. There's some value there. There's some value. All right, let me get back to some comments. John says, excellent. Blessed every day. Love that attitude. Believe and have faith. Amen, John. Faith is important to me. Faith is part of a priority to me. I was searching the scriptures today. I just Googled, what are some scriptures that reference priorities? And the one that came up first was seek God above all else, and everything else will be added onto you. And of course, I've heard that scripture before. And again, I don't believe in being over-religious. I don't believe in pushing any one particular faith on anyone else. I just share my own, which is I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in my own interpretation of the scriptures, and then I believe in my own guidance of the Holy Spirit. And I believe in my own critical thinking. Not have someone else tell you how to, have your own faith. But seeking God, however you define it, but seeking a spirituality and seeking the Lord, that is a major priority. That should be also your top priority. And God lives inside you. So taking care of yourself well means that you're seeking God, right? Because so I was sharing too today with a coworker, and we were talking about kind of this subject about religions and different religions, and we're kind of like both on that same page, and we're like, hey, look, basically it's all comes down to how you treat people. I said, I agree with that, as long as you're not hurting nobody. I said, but you know what, Rod? I said, you know what I've really been learning lately, and what God's been showing me? It's not just how you treat other people, it's how you treat yourself. I said, you show me someone who treats themselves well, and I said, you're going to find somebody that has good faith. And I don't mean treat themselves well as far as like indulging in selfishness. I'm not speaking on that. I'm talking about like taking care of themselves, caring about themselves, and a priority is take care of yourself, seek God, and faith. I mean, like I said, my mom on that MRI today, on that table in the hospital room today, taking an MRI, and I know what it is to be scared, especially scared physically in the hospital. Let me tell you something. If you don't have faith, when you're hurting and you're in a hospital, you're going to call out to the Lord in whatever way you call out to Him. And you'll realize in those different moments in life, where you're faced with some serious things, intelligence, courage, all that other shit goes out the window. All you have is faith. And you need faith. I know sometimes it may seem naive. Sometimes it may seem even foolish, to be honest with you. Certainly I don't preach any extremism, but I preach a healthy foundation of faith. I'll let you define it for yourself. But I think that's a priority. I think seek God and everything else will be added on to you. Does it mean look, I can't explain every evil of this world. I'm not going to try to. And I'm not going to tell you that, some people don't have legit reasons to question God, etc., etc. When I was in my younger years, I used to do that. I used to ponder on, well, if I believe in God, how can all this crazy shit happen? And I used to do, you just let your mind go to trying to figure out everything in this world. And that's why they say sometimes ignorance is bliss. Meaning that, sometimes people who don't overanalyze something are a little bit happier. Now, certainly I believe in critical thinking and having analysis, etc., etc. But at a certain point, don't try to figure out every detail of the world. You understand what I'm saying? And just embrace your faith. And be okay with being a little bit foolish sometimes. Because to have faith, you're going to have to be a little bit foolish. And I've often said too that I don't believe you can reach your destiny without being willing to be laughed at. And when you live a life of a faith-based life, not extremism, but a faith-based life, true faith, I believe you're going to have to be foolish to some people. And I'm going to get to the comments. I just want to share my train of thought here. I remember when I first started to seek the Lord, when I was working as an electrician, apprentice in a pharmaceutical plant. And, we worked in this like industrial yard. And during the breaks, during lunch and we had a morning break, we would meet in these like trailers. They're travel trailers. And all the guys after the work, they would go in these trailers. And I was young. I was in my early 20s. And I knew like I had to start changing my life, right? I knew I wasn't living right. And I was trying to seek, some type of spirituality to guide me. And, of course, in the area, mainly a Christian area, for the most part, so you always have to say that, right? So, the United States of America, the main religion is probably still Christianity, and that evolves over time. But I say all that to make the note that, someone else who's in their early 20s in a different part of the world, you have to understand, they may be seeking Buddhism. They may be seeking, whatever, right? So I say that to remember that we're in a whole world. So we tend to seek whatever faith is kind of like embedded in our region on average, okay? I say that so we can start to understand and build bridges to other faiths, meaning that, look, a lot of times people gravitate towards a faith that's based in their culture and in their current region. So not to get off track, but I say all that to say I was in my early 20s, I was on this job, and I knew my life wasn't living right, and some of it was just being immature, going to clubs, going to bars, strip clubs, little time in the street, nothing crazy. And I was yearning, something inside me was yearning to grow and to get kind of out of this rut. And so one of the older guys decided to do a Bible study at lunch and on our morning break. And I said, well, you know what? I kind of like this guy. I thought he was a cool guy. He didn't overpressure me. So he said, you know what? He said, yeah, if anybody's interested in joining, just bring their Bible and they can come in. And they went to like a separate trailer so they didn't bother anyone else who was working. Or like anybody else who wanted to, have lunch and read the sports pages or talk about crazy shit, whatever, right? Because, So there was a separate trailer. And one day I decided to bring in my Bible. And I went to this Bible study at lunchtime and on the morning break. And it was really magical. I just felt like this is it. This is my next step to bettering myself, right? And the scriptures came alive. People were sharing, like not overly religious sharing, but not being religious necessarily, but sharing on some good life spiritual principles. And I was like, man, this is good stuff. And that was part of the seeds, part of the journey that helped me open that door spiritually. Now, I still had to seek. Part of your priorities is you seeking what you want to do with your life. I had to go get the Bible. I had to be willing to be a little bit embarrassed and go to this other trailer. Because there was 2 trailers at lunch. There was one trailer that all the guys were, that 90% of the people were in this one trailer where they read their newspaper, they talk about sports, they talk about women, they talk about whatever. And there was this one little trailer that the guys were able to use, and there's only a few people there, and they went to read their Bibles. And sure enough, I was in the trailer for the most of my time there with the 90% guys. And then it took a little bit of courage to not go into the trailer where everyone was hanging out and to go into the trailer where people were doing their Bible study. And like the first day I did it, I was kind of mocked. I was like, well, I told my partner, I said, look, I'm not going to this trailer. I'm going to go to this other one and do the Bible study. He said, what? He said, you're going to go in there with those Bible beaters? Don't go in there. That's fucking like a cult. And and it's like it did take a level of being willing to look foolish. Because there's resistance there, right? And I don't think the guy was like meaning to bash them. But what I'm trying to say is to put your priorities in order. There's going to be forks in the road that require you to look foolish, to look odd, to be different, to be mocked, to be ridiculed, okay? And so you have to be willing to take that left turn and look different. And I did that, and it was one of the seeds. It wasn't the whole, but it was one of those things that starts to change your life. And towards the end of that job, once I started going consistently, and people kind of just accepted it. They said whatever, because I didn't change who I was just growing. But towards the end of the job, I remember there was one other younger guy, and I know he was struggling with life. He didn't tell me everything, but I could see it. And he was a good guy, but it's just like everyone else, he was struggling. And he was like, Sam, man, I see like you've been going like to this Bible study. He said, I'm going to try to go to it. I said, yeah, it's been pretty cool for me. It's just like everything else. Some people you agree with, some people you don't, but for the most part, it's all positive. And he was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to come with you tomorrow. So like I saw him in the morning. He brought his Bible. And he was like, Sam, I'm going to come with you at lunch. And at lunchtime came, sure enough, we're walking to this other trailer, this smaller trailer. And, the other guys see us, the ones that go into the big trailer with all the, reading their newspaper and everything. And they saw the guy that was coming with me and go, oh, you're going with Sam too? You're converting over to the cult? And no, they were just busting his chops, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is, first time you do something different. But unlike me, he wasn't able to feel that ridicule and still push forward into that different place, into the smaller trailer. So once people started busting his chops, he said, Sam, you know what? I'm not going to go in there. I'm just going to go in the regular trailer. I said, look, bro, I said, do what you got to do. I said, I never tried to really force anybody to do anything for the most part. I said, I understand. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I know this brother was hurting. And I know he wasn't getting what he needed hanging out with those 90% other people who were like also living crazy. And it's not in judgment of them, but when you're hurting and when you need to change your life, you need to be able and you need to be willing to look foolish. Because you have to reset your priorities. And you don't reset your priorities by doing what you always have done. Because when you're hurting and when you're in a bad place, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, doesn't matter. It means that something happened along your journey and your priorities got messed up. And so you have to reset. You have to refocus your life. That's very important. Let me get back to some live comments. Dolores, I know I'm on a little lag with the comments. Dolores says, she has been working part-time since August and love it. Amen, Dolores. What have you been doing, if you don't mind sharing? Harold and Patrick, what's up, brother? Good evening, brother. Good evening to you. How do you deal with the ventilation and condensation in your car? Good question. I just crack my windows. That's all I do. I have seen some other nomad channels where they rig up different like humidifiers and stuff. My method, not that's for everyone, my method is simple is what I want. So I don't have all I do is crack my windows so I get airflow, and that's it. Now, when I was in Florida, I got probably more condensation than I do now in the cold, dry air in New Jersey right now with the cold weather. But when I wake up in the morning when there's condensation, it just looks like it rained, and I have to put on my defroster for about 5 minutes when I start my car. So but that's it. I mean, to me it's not an issue, and it hasn't been for a year that I've been doing this. For some people it's an issue, but for me it's none. So if it's not an issue to me, I'm not going to overcomplicate my life. I'm not going to rig up something. But that's just me, and that's how I deal with it. Thank you for the question, Harold. Dolores says she is 65. Amen. NDC says, he gave the conversion. NDC is very thoughtful. I like him. He says, negative 30 Celsius equals 22 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so we got about, let's just say, just so I remember, there's a 50-degree swing, basically. That makes sense. Oh, no, not 50 degree. 30 degrees Celsius equals negative 22 Fahrenheit. Wow. So, now I see what you're saying now. Wow, that's cold. Dolores, gonna take me a while to get the van, though. That's okay. Dolores, like I say, I mean, I have been becoming a little bit more flexible in my mind where, look, even if it's gonna take a while, and look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, even if it never happens, I think there's mental value in daydreaming. Now, look, I want to encourage you guys to take those small steps because I want you guys not just to daydream. But if you can't do anything else, at least I'd rather you leave this world a little bit happy. So daydream about that van. Get that vision in front of you. I want you to take the steps. I think you can do it. But stay inspired. And staying inspired means, daydreaming a little bit, fantasizing a little bit. Because it took me about a year to research to live this life that I wanted to live. Now, again, it's all relative, right? It's, going to be like negative 5 degrees tonight. It's going to feel like that. Some people look at me and say, Sam, you're crazy. I would never want to live that life. So it's all relative to the life you want to live. But again, it's just like the story I was just telling you about the Bible study, right? It's like, you have to be willing to look foolish for what you want to deem your priorities in life. Because your priorities and how you structure your life is going to determine your happiness, your production, and your level of fulfillment. And for me, even when people can't understand it, my priorities are lined up with my mind, body, and soul, and for the vision I have for my life. And it's okay not to be understood. It's okay to be made fun of sometimes. Just gotta go forward. Sailing John, living the dream there. Sailing John on that boat, living the dream. Good, I like it. Dana, I will mess up along the way. That's right, we all do. You have to. Let me finish reading her comment. She says she will mess up along the way, but she's going to try to give it my best shot. Dana, amen. I mean, that's the other thing I was reflecting on today. We only learn from experience, and we only learn from fucking up really bad. In the work, in our personal, in our business, in our YouTube, I mean, everything. There's nothing you're going to do in life that you're going to get on the first try, or the second try, or the third try, or the fourth time. I mean, sometimes you got to do things for years, and there's quotes on there that say success is going from one failure to another without a loss of enthusiasm. To a certain extent, I agree. To a certain extent, we certainly want to measure progress. We don't want to just do things out of pure emotion. But I want to encourage you that your success is going to be paved with your failures. And the quicker and the more measured you can fail, the better. Because you need to fail. You need to get experience. That's the only way to learn. And I want to encourage you to fail. Correct as you go. I'm not trying to tell you be ignorant. But correct as you go, and don't be willing to be embarrassed. It's okay. Dana, she said, for a lunch on Saturday, vegetables, French fries, and sweet iced tea. Okay, there you go. So you're gonna have a fun day. That's good. Gail, hey Gail, good afternoon or good evening to you. Just getting in the chat room. She's from PA, Pennsylvania, and it's cold and snow on the way. Stay safe. I enjoy your chats. Thank you, Gail. Yeah, so you're right in that area too. I mean, you got New York, New Jersey, and then to the west is PA, Pennsylvania. And part of the weather advisory I saw they were definitely said for Philly too. So, yeah, we're all right in that area. We're going to get hit, with some cold wind. But we're going to be okay. Like I said, grew up in this area for 36 years, and every winter it gets cold. But bundle up, take it serious like you should take everything serious. Your health is your wealth. And if it does get too cold, if you're a nomad, then definitely get a hotel room or do what you ever have to do. And just enjoy. I mean, make the most of it. Make the most of life. Don't wait for the perfect conditions to be happy. And I'm thankful for tonight. I'm thankful, I'm in my car, got my heat on. I'm talking to you guys. I feel encouraged, feel thankful. And, I'm glad I got the 3 weeks in Florida, because even a couple of friends I was talking to in Florida today, they're still like 50 degrees during the day, but they're like telling me like it's cold. And I understand. But it's 5 degrees here, so, that's okay. Dana says, when I had my MRI, she's talking about herself, after her car accident, I fell asleep in the tube and loved it. Wow, that's an interesting thing. The two people I know that got an MRI, thank God I never had to get one. The two people I know that got said it was very painful, and not necessarily physically painful for some, but the way their body had to stay still for that period of time was a little bit discomforting and mentally painful. But thank you for sharing that. Dana says, maybe you were a bad boy, but now you're a great man. Hey man, I'm still imperfect, so I'm humble enough to realize, I'm not a perfect person, but I'm thankful. And yeah, no, I definitely have improved my life. I appreciate the encouragement. I was never bad, but, I was in some bad circumstances. I was immature, certainly made, bad mistakes. Grace of God, has been there. Things could have been worse. But overall, I'm thankful. And thankful for those who've helped me along the way, has taught me, and thankful, of course, for my mother, and even for my father, and for, my sisters, different people in my life that even though I don't agree with a lot of them, and I had to do my own thing a lot, I still, people plant seeds, and people give you a little help along the way, but you have to seek. You are responsible for your life. Accountability is the first step to growth. And once you become an adult, you have to accept that. And you set your own priorities. So when you're a child, your parents set your priorities. And sometimes your parents, and no parent is perfect, no child is perfect, so don't blame your parents. But sometimes your parents put your priorities in the wrong order. Sometimes they tell you this food is good, but that's the wrong priority. Sometimes they tell you this is the type of relationship, but that's the wrong priority. Sometimes they tell you this is the conventional life you should live. You should go to college. You should then get a house. You should then get a family. But for some people, that's not their life. So what I'm trying to say is once you're an adult, it's your job to define your life and to set priorities so that you can then fulfill your life. And that's key. NDC, until the weather warms up in an apartment, negative 22 Fahrenheit now. He said I winterized my motorbike outside and covered it up. Then I'm traveling to Provincial, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Park. Oh, Ontario. Has several majestic parks. Well, that sounds fun. That sounds, I like that word, majestical parks. Majestic parks. So, magical parks, basically. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, different parts of the world, right? Even northern Canada, the different climate, and you just have to be mindful. Like I said with faith, right? Some people grow up in certain parts of the world and they're going to gravitate towards a certain faith. Why? Because that's embedded in their culture. When you grow up in Canada, there's a certain culture related to the cold weather and the different things you do and how the parks are designed. And it's just the way this world is. And as we're more connected and as we share, it's very interesting. But two, just remember that when you get these winter warnings and everything, for, our brothers and sisters right in Canada, I mean, they're living, he's negative 22 degrees right now. And so right now, as I look at it's about 20 degrees, maybe it's about 10 degrees with the wind chill. So we have to take everything in perspective and not get over emotional, because, the news and the media and ourselves can start to, affect on how we view the day in our life, etc., etc. Dolores, she says, we make test fixtures for circuit boards. Oh, okay. So that's kind of like in the electrical field, what I'm familiar with. That's pretty cool. Dolores, oh no, it will happen. Glam Gypsy retracted 2 messages. Sorry, I must have been talking too long, but welcome, Glam Gypsy. I hope you're doing good today. I know it's probably a little bit chillier for you too in the ATL than usual, but it's probably better than being up here. But good evening to you, Glam Gypsy. Hope you're bundled up in your minivan. Sailing John, yes, looking crazy. Water a bit tough to get here now. Everything frozen. Again, John lives on his boat. Went through the guys end of the day and filled gallon jug. To take a boat, you should have a scene reaction. I'll tell you, living on the water in this type of weather in New Jersey, I give you a lot of credit, but it can be done. And it's cool that you're living it. And how's work going, John? How's the new part-time job? Glam Gypsy says, hey, snowed in Savannah, Georgia. When I drove back up north from Florida, I passed by Savannah. So that's cool. I hope you're keeping warm in the minivan, Glam Gypsy. Sailing John says, last winter here, 3 exclamation marks. That's right. John has got his spot reserved in Florida for next winter. And that's something to keep him inspired. Like I'm saying, dream, visualize about what you want to do with your life. Even if it's a few months away or a year away, you know what? That'll get you excited enough to keep going. And you need to have a mind of something to keep you inspired. When I was thinking about changing my life and, initially just getting a smaller condo, when I was at work on a cold winter day, I was just thinking about buying a condo by the beach. And that was enough to get me excited to get through the cold winter nights. Obviously, it evolved into something different. But what I'm trying to tell you is that vision, even if it doesn't end up to be what you want it to be, to keep that vision in front of you, to get yourself inspired, and to daydream is wisdom. NDC, everyone around me maintains that I must be crazy. That's okay to enjoy the outdoor lifestyle. No, that's not crazy. However, like-minded people on social media love it and encourage it. That's right. That's right, NDC. And that's what I've learned more and more as I mature. I think mature is a good word. Is that, you know what? You don't want to waste too much time around people that aren't like-minded. Again, it doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean, they're bad. It means that, life is too short and too precious to spend time justifying your life to others. If people don't get you, it's just not worth it investing too much time, because they're never going to get you. People are who they are for the most part. Do I believe people can change? Yes, but you have to want to change. And sometimes, we don't want to change. I don't want to, I want to grow, I want to change, I want to evolve from that mindset. But I don't want to change who I am and what I like to do, etc., etc. You understand what I'm saying, and how I like to be. And so, I love NDC's comment. What you do want to be around like-minded people. You don't want to be closed-minded, but you don't want to be around people that you have to justify yourself to, because it's an uphill battle. I don't think you'll ever be happy like that. Talking also to somebody today, and there's a guy we have to deal with. Sometimes you deal with. He's a very contentious person, and when I was on vacation for a couple of weeks, I was talking to a mutual friend, and he said, Sam, I was fucking dealing with that guy. He's fucking busting my chops the whole time. I said, look, that guy's never gonna change. He was busting chops when I left 3 weeks ago down in Florida. That's who he is. You understand what I'm saying? You can't, people are who they are. And sometimes, they want to be different, but that's just who they are. So you just accept it. Does it make things easier? No, but it just, and sometimes you have to deal with people. Again, always difference between personal, professional, etc. But like I say, you shouldn't have to deal with too much bullshit in your personal life, because you have to deal with that in every other aspect of life. So you need to have boundaries. Sailing John, Job is going excellent. Good, brother. I'm glad that's going excellent for you. I'm very glad to hear that. Sailing John, about 8 months to go. John's counting down. I like it. Sailing John, slip is reserved. His boat slip in Florida is reserved, is what he's referencing. And I like to hear that. I like to hear that. And I know you must be visualizing taking that boat down there, being in your sandals and just kicking back and looking at the blue oceans of Florida. Or blue oceans of the Atlantic Ocean in Florida, I should say. What are you guys having for dinner? But yeah, I mean, so cold weather living is it's just that time of year where it's cold. Every winter it gets cold. Can't get around it. But really nothing to be crazy about. And before you know it, I think next week is supposed to, the warm weather is supposed to be back. And Sailing John said, yes, looking at the ocean and bikinis. Laugh out loud. Let me tell you something. There was a lot of bikinis when I was down in Florida. Once I got down to South Florida. North Florida was a little cool. But South Florida is a lot of bikinis. A lot of beautiful girls. So you're going to have a good time, John. I was telling the guy, too, today that I was working with. I said, as I was telling him, he said, Sam, how was it? I said, it was great. I said, a lot of girls, a lot of bikinis. I didn't do anything. I just looked. He goes, Sam, I can't even look. He goes, I look, I go crazy. I go right after him. I said, well, that's a mistake. You don't want to do that. You end up in a bad spot. But, for a man, it's visual inspiration. Yeah, seeing those bikinis. I'm sure the women, I've seen some guys from Europe wearing their Speedos. So maybe the women want to see that, see a guy running in the Speedos with his dog. Maybe that gets the women worked up. Dolores says she has a baked potato, one regular, and one sweet potato. Yeah, I like sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes and regular potatoes are very healthy. As long as you don't add butter, that's a really... Now, they're not a main staple of my diet anymore because I don't have an oven. I don't have a kitchen anymore. But when I had my condo, I used to, especially once I got my life healthy, that used to be a main staple in my dinner. I used to make my salad with all the vegetable fixings, and then I would do the same thing. I would make a sweet potato, a regular potato, and then I dice that up and I put that in the salad, put some beans on that, and that's a go. That'll fill you up as long as you don't put butter on those potatoes, and as long as you. Now, I did research that when you bake a potato, it's healthier than when you boil it. Okay, because when you boil it, you boil away, meaning that when you drop the potato in boiling water, you soak away many of the nutrients. It's the same thing with like vegetables, right? So a lot of times it's the same thing with vegetables. Like a lot of times you go to the Chinese spot and you get the vegetables, steamed vegetables, etc. But if those vegetables get soaked in water or something like that, a lot of the nutrients get taken out of the vegetables and you just eat empty calories. Now certainly it's better than other stuff that you can eat that's unhealthy, but just be mindful that of how you prepare the food. You can, like I said, baking a potato is healthier than boiling it. And same thing with vegetables. You're better to steam them lightly rather than to soak them in water. So these are the type of things that I learned on my health journey. These little type of things that make a little bit of a difference when it comes to nutrients. Because again, the food you eat, the nutrients inside that food, they basically feed your cells. Your body is made up of cells. And your cells regenerate through the nutrients that come in the food. And when your heart pumps blood through your body, that blood carries oxygen and nutrients to your cells. What's cancer? Cancer is deformed cells. So certainly you can get cancer from something that's non-food related, but a lot of times the food we eat is either adding to a disease or healing a disease. So again, be mindful that you want maximum nutrients and you want to eat things prepared as healthy as possible because again, your health is a priority and you want to live a well life. Dana says she has gluten-free pasta. I hope it's whole grain pasta. Cottage cheese. Not thrilling, but it makes my stomach happy. I hear that. Nothing wrong with that, Dana. And it makes your stomach happy and your mind happy because you got off 3 weeks now. So you get to enjoy some pasta and some cottage cheese. And now, Dana, when you eat your food, how do you eat it? Do you eat it like on your lazy boy recliner? And do you watch TV? Do you watch YouTube? And I'm curious, just everyone in the chat room, if they want to share, like when you get your food at night, how do you eat it? Do you eat it, do you eat it in the kitchen? Do you eat it at a dining room table? Do you eat it on your bed? When I used to have my condo, I would cook my food and then I had a lazy boy recliner, and then I would get like the fold out table. I put the fold out table in front of it, and then I watch my big screen TV. I usually watch sports or Seinfeld or something, and that's how I would eat it. So I never like to eat around other people, even when I ate healthy, and I never like to eat like on a dining room table or in the kitchen. I always like to eat, like on my recliner and like looking at a big screen TV. They say when you eat and you watch TV, you tend to eat more, but Dolores, trying a new crock recipe now. Barley and cabbage soup, cooking it now. Well, it's soup weather. Now, my mom used to make great chicken noodle soup, but she used to add too much oil and too much salt. So I said, Mom, not too much oil and salt, but every time, too much oil and salt. But it was good, and I used to enjoy the chicken noodle soup, and I would take some of the chicken out, and I would dip the chicken in ketchup. I used to love dipping everything in ketchup. And then I would also have some sweet and sour Lay's chips. Now, again, this was my unhealthy life. So I have a bag of Lay's sour cream and onion chips and chicken noodle soup, too greasy. And taking the chicken out, dipping it in ketchup, and then also dipping the sour cream and onion Lay's potato chip in ketchup with about 3 Diet Cokes. Sailing John, I have a Coleman single burner and potatoes and broccoli in one pot and one of my dishes here. Yeah, that's all you need. If you're living in some type of alternate lifestyle, whether it's like John living in his boat or like me living in a car, like Glam Gypsy living in her minivan, you can get one of those Coleman single burners right from Walmart, and it's like you just basically doing outdoor camping, and you just fire that thing up. They got the little propane tank that you can buy right in Walmart, and it's a go. I don't do it just because I like that simple life. You guys know me, but is there anything wrong with that? No, that's a cool life. Dana says no, and that's all caps, and she gave me about 5 exclamation marks. I'm very calm. No phone, no TV. Well, I like that. The older I got too, and the different, things, challenges you start to go through at life, watching TV used to start to hurt my mind. As far as like watching the news or, just watching programming, period. It used to be mentally, I thought, hurtful. Towards the end, once I started to get like, in my middle 30s. When I was younger, I really enjoyed watching them. But then when I started to go through life and you go through different failures, you just don't want to hear any of that shit anymore. And you just like it more calm and peaceful. I agree with that. NDC. One priority during cooler temperatures is keeping the body underneath the clothes dry. Wool wicks away moisture from the body very well. I didn't know that. NDC's got a lot of intelligence, a lot of thoughtful comments. So that's a good comment. Thank you, brother. I didn't know that. I don't think I have any wool clothing. I may have a pair of wool socks. I saw somebody in Starbucks when I was in Starbucks before. I saw some girl like with a nice wool scarf. It was like real it was like a sexy scarf, and she had it on in Starbucks. I think she was trying to coordinate her outfit, because she had it all fancy. But it was it was sexy. It was sexy. It was like a cream, you know what I mean? Like real cashmere. I had when I used to dress up, I had a couple cashmere scarves. The scarf is key too. Yeah, keep that neck warm. So I think I have wool socks, but I think that's all I have with wool. Sailing John, one space room here. Eat on top of my radiator heater. Oh, that's an interesting way to do it. That's interesting. Dana says she eats very slowly. Well, I tend to eat fast. I try to slow down a little bit. Gets on people's nerves. Oh, that's nothing wrong with that. So I like to eat alone. I agree with that. I bring a book to read when I go out to eat. Oh, that's cool. No, that's nothing wrong with that. I like to eat alone too. It's more peaceful. I think that's a good plan. It's Miss Kimberly. What about you? Sailing John. Only about 10 weeks be out sailing again. Time changes all. That's very true, John. That's a good point. Yeah, before you know it, in a couple months, it'll be springtime again. And, everything moves quicker than we think. So, but that's why, too, we have to embrace the moment. Make the most of this moment. Make the most of the cold weather if you can. And make it magical. Enjoy each day. Because time will pass no matter what. Whether you're miserable or happy. You know, I mean, obviously, if you're in a bad circumstance, I understand you can't just be happy automatically. But what I'm trying to say is if you have your health tonight, if you're able to watch me on YouTube or whatever, I mean, you know, things aren't that bad. I mean, I know we all have our own personal problems. But, you know, just try to, you know, keep yourself in a good space. It's not that bad. It could be worse. And stay positive. I really do believe that staying as positive as possible. I understand sometimes you got to, you know, kick some shit. But, you know, stay as positive as possible. And, you know, keep a mindset of you want to go forward with your life. I think that's key. Part of, like, what I was saying with that daydreaming. And having a mind that, you know, you look forward to things in your life. You look forward to different accomplishments you want to make. You know, sometimes, like, you know, when I eat, I daydream, right? Like, I have a banana in my health bar, my Starbucks, and I daydream. I daydream about, you know, being rich, living in my car, you know, looking at bikinis on the beach, and, you know, being on YouTube or whatever. You know, I daydream about whatever inspires me that day. Toyota Prius, you know, whatever, you know, but I love my Jeep Renegade. I love my Jeep Renegade. The heated seats. Now, I got the cold weather package in the Renegade. Now, I don't know if Joe Humphreys is in the chat room tonight from the UK. He was thinking about getting a Renegade. Now, when I bought the Renegade, I bought the Trailhawk edition. It's a higher grade edition. I didn't think I was going to get the... I really didn't know it. I wasn't planning on getting what they call the cold weather package. I knew I wanted four-wheel drive because I live in the Northeast. I live in the New Jersey area. So, I knew, like, when it snows, like it may snow tonight and tomorrow, I need to be able to get around. But I'm glad that I got the cold weather package, even though I wasn't planning to. I really didn't have my mindset on that. I just had my mindset on different things. And so there's two different knobs, one to heat your seats and one to heat the steering wheel. And that really makes a difference when you're in these cold, extreme weather. You know, right now my heat is seated, my seat is heated, and my ass feels warm and cozy. And when I'm driving and it's cold and my steering wheel is heated, that does make a difference. You think like it's a little bit like of a, you know, prima donna, but it's actually helpful. Now, obviously, if you live in Florida, you don't need that. But until I can be in Florida, I need that cold weather package. I need heated seats and heated steering wheel. But I say all that to say it was like one of those pleasant surprises that I got that I didn't realize I got. Of course, you pay for it, but it's all relative. Dana says, after age 50, time flies. Well, I think that's wisdom. Yeah, I mean, you know, life is... You know, I heard somebody once say that the days are long, but the years go fast, if you know what I'm saying. You know, sometimes we have a long day at work or a long day with our family, or we fail and we fuck up and we feel like, you know, life is like a never-ending thing. And then some days, you know, we wake up and... or somebody passes away, or, you know, something happens with your health, and so shit, you know, life isn't as long as I thought it would be. So it's just wisdom to slow down. You know, definitely that's one of the things I learned as I go, is just slow down. You know, and I think the more mature you get, and it's not easy, we still fail. The more mature you get, the more you learn to slow down. Even now on my trips, even now sometimes in my conversation, I say, Sam, slow down. You know, it's just wisdom to take a breath, slow down a little bit. Dana says, nothing wrong with having a hot butt. Amen. American Writer from Arizona says, Dana, behave. And then he gave the laugh emoji. Yeah, it's good to have a little joke. Yeah, American Writer, you must have a hot ass in Arizona, because how cold? It can't be that cold in Arizona, is it? I saw Nomadic Fanatics. It's 75. You're doing all right. American Writers in Arizona is 75. Yeah, I saw Nomadic Fanatics video. I was watching that before I went live. Actually, I was eating my banana, and I was watching him. I guess he's like in Tombstone. I don't know if that's Tombstone. He's right, New Mexico, I think he was in. And you know, I'll leave my personal comments alone, but I'll just say all that to say, yeah, I saw him making his way to Arizona. A lot of people this time of year are headed to the RTR, the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which is a nomad convention. So it looks like, American Writer, you're going to have a lot of people in your area, which that's cool. And Dana says, American Writer, I like your sense of humor. That's right. You got to be able to laugh. I like that. That's wisdom. American Writer says, yes, I'm surviving. Yeah, you're surviving in 75 degree. You're thriving. American Writer says, yes, I saw that. And I'm sure he's referring to when I was talking about the Nomadic Fanatic video where he's in New Mexico and now he's getting ready to go to Arizona. American Writer, I am there. I am near there, he says. And we have a nice forest. Well, that's good to know. I mean, Arizona, I did daydream at one time in my life about Arizona during the housing crash. I was looking at cheap property. That property had really went down. And the property that was cheapest in the country when we had the recession, the areas that I was interested in, was Florida and Arizona. Because there are some beautiful spots. I've never been to Arizona. But, you know, from the different research I did, there's certain, I mean, Arizona, like every other land, it has its cities, it has Phoenix, and then it has, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I was looking on the Chandler area, I think it's called Chandler, Chandler. You know what that is, American Writer? And where else was I looking? Chandler, yeah, there was a couple of data centers there and different things, you know, for work, et cetera. And Phoenix, you know, Phoenix has also become a little bit of a hotbed. I mean, the economy's improved, so a lot of things have been on the upswing. But yeah, I mean, I thought about Arizona. I never been there. I'm still more East Coast guy because I that was like the thing. I mean, you're not too far from the Pacific Ocean, but I just, as I learned myself, I gotta I wanna be by the ocean. But I say all that to say I respect the beauty of Arizona, right? I don't want to be disrespectful of people. So American Writer's in Arizona. He's by the RTR. And he said he's worked near the Chandler. That was one of the towns I was looking at when I was looking at property. Because property, I mean, you could have stole property. Not stole it, but you could have got it for a great price in Florida or in Arizona during the housing crash. They were all vulnerable. But it's all relative because nobody had money. And, you know, if you don't want to live in those areas, you know, you shouldn't buy it. But, I say all that to say I'm just sharing now. I'm just sharing. But are you by the RTR, American Writer? And are you going to the RTR? And American Writer says, live where you want. I agree with that. That's wisdom. Dana, she says, when I get there, I will send you pictures. Dana, you're going to RTR? American Writer says he's 2 hours away from the RTR, and he might go. American Writer, do you live out of your car, van, or RV? Or do you live in a house and just part-time? Dana, are you going to RTR? You do live out of your car? What kind of car do you live out of? Don't say, you know. Oh, he lives out of his minivan. Are you watching me right now from your minivan? Do you have a home base, American Writer? He's at the library right now. Okay, yeah, the library, I did a video on that way in the summer. For all the nomads out there, a library is a great place to spend some time. You know, you got the internet, you got different resources, et cetera, et cetera. Great place. Put that on your list for different areas where you can be productive and in a positive space, creative space as well. Never forget that. There's a library everywhere. Now, American Writer, do you have a home base or do you just boondock? Dana, did you say you're going to the RTR? And American Writer says home base is in Arizona right now. Oh, that's cool. Now, Arizona. Now, do you guys have state tax in Arizona? State income tax? In the cities mostly. He's saying. But yeah, I mean that's the cool part. Yeah, American Writer, sorry, I got knocked off a second. American Writer says, yes, state income tax. Yeah, okay. So I'd have to be Florida for me. As far as a home base. But I may go to Arizona eventually down the road. But what was I saying? Oh, I was talking to a guy at work today, too. Another subject that came up. No Man's Land from NYC. Hello, everyone. Hello. No Man's Land. We're under a blizzard warning. I don't think we're going to get much snow, but we're under a winter weathery advisory. High winds, cold temperatures, frigid temperatures, they say. Friday and Saturday is supposed to be negative 10. Okay. Tonight and tomorrow supposed to possibly get up to 6 to 8 inches of snow in the New Jersey, New York area, depending on where you're at specifically. So just bundle up, brother. Get that sleeping bag ready. I was thinking about buying a sleeping bag today because it was cold as hell last night. Last night was one of the coldest nights living in my car. I'll tell you, it was cold. But I'm thankful. American Writer, nor'easter headed your way, I heard. Oh, it is. It's cold. That's why I put the cold face emoji on my live snapshot of the thing. Dana, hey, No Man's Land. Freddie Fenders. Hey, hey, y'all. Hey, Freddie, how are you doing, brother? Hope you're having a good night, man. Thank you for joining. Yeah, but American Writer and everybody, No Man's Land says, hey, Dana, hands up emoji. But I was talking to somebody at work, and they were like, because I was talking about, like, in Dana, I was talking about when I traveled down to Florida and I came back up. I mean, I've done it a few times now. Like North Carolina and South Carolina, there's plenty of land that's like undeveloped as far as like there's not a lot of infrastructure, there's not a lot of street lighting, etc. And I was talking to this guy at work, and he said his mother lives in North Carolina. So he goes, it's amazing. There's so much different land throughout the United States of America that is really not developed too much, and there's not that much infrastructure. And then, of course, we start talking about the West. I mean, if you look at nomadic fanatics, and if you look at different people in the nomad community, or just whatever, you just Google people who travel the West, there's still vast amounts of land that are totally undeveloped and that don't have much lighting. That, certain areas don't have any Wi-Fi. So sometimes we think like the United States of America, most of the population is right along the east and west coast. It's right by the ocean. But most life form, including animal life, they gravitate towards water, and temperatures that produce a good climate. So, but if you New York, California, and then just down those coastlines, that's the majority population. Now, again, there's tons of population in the middle. I'm not trying to belittle that, but what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of land that in America that's undeveloped. But also in China, same thing. Like if you Google the amount of undeveloped, uninhibited land in China, China's a huge landmass. But there's many areas that just, it's just empty land area. So a lot of times when we Google things and we look at Google Maps, I don't think we have perspective on, yes, this is the size of the land, but the majority of population is concentrated usually along the coastal areas, etc. The majority. There's still people that live everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? But I find that to be interesting on how, just humans adapt and live. American Writer, are you going to survive that cold? I have never been in that cold of weather. Yeah, I'll survive. I mean, like I said, I grew up in this area my whole life. Now, of course, like I said, I lived in a house and I owned my own condo for 15 years. There was winters that I didn't have heat and stuff like that, but most of them I did. But yeah, I mean, like I was telling Miss Kimberly in the beginning of live chat, look, I'm thinking about even too, and there was an offer with my job, but if I get a hotel room, not tonight because it's supposed to still be, relatively decent, but Friday and Saturday is supposed to be like -10. I may get a hotel room if it gets too cold. I don't like to run my car at night, and I'm not stressing. I mean, again, I don't want to act like, I have the ability to rent a car. I have the ability to rent a hotel room, not an issue. I mean, I just don't like that whole process. I don't like checking in. I'm weird. I know that a lot of people can understand that. But we'll see. We'll see what I think to do. But, I'll see. I'll just take it one day at a time. No Man's Land. Yes, Sam, I thought about you too, brother. Yeah, it was cold last night, but it was good. We made it through. Like I say, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. are coldest hours, man. NDC. In the morning, I warm up quick with hot chocolate. Yeah, that'll do it. Sugars are the kindling for my body. It's a warm up fast. I hear that. Protein for the logs. At night, I eat protein. It burns slowly and keeps my body warm and longer. I hear that. Yeah, I mean, definitely in the winter, you feel like, and you should. I mean, that's part of survival. You put on a little bit more pounds to kind of like, especially if you're going to live in the nature area, if you're going to be an outdoorsman. And, living in your car is like being an outdoors hiker. Like a person who hikes, a hikeman, or whatever you want to call them. There's some people that do it. They just hike in the mountains and they live like, naturally, etc. Not many. That's the thing. I mean, it's very few percentage. Like I say, what percentage of people of the U.S. population do I think live out of their cars? 1% or less? Out of 340 million or whatever many people we have, I think less than 1% of population live out of their car. So it's a unique thing, but it's not unheard of. And it's, so you just have to adapt in the extreme weather. Sailing John. Saturday and Sunday supposed to be the coldest. Yes, I agree. That's what I saw too. Negative it's supposed to get. Then bad cold over with that said. That's right, brother. Yeah, once we get into Sunday and Monday, then the cold front ceases and we get back to normal temperatures. which in the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, is going to be around 30 degrees, maybe even up to 40 some days. So, I mean, the bottom line is you get through the next few days and, for now, for the foreseeable future, the worst is past. And if you need to, you get a hotel room or whatever. But that's part of that adaptation. Believe me, if you had a house, you would still be spending just as much and you're going to crank that heat up. So it's all relative. It's all relative. But it'll all be different next week. Oh, Tony Williams, what's up, brother? Hey, Sam. Hey, Tony. Thanks for joining again, brother. I appreciate that. American Writer, get a hotel room. I may, brother. I may. It's possible. I may get a hotel room. We'll see. I take it one step at a time right now. I'm a little bit stubborn. I'm thinking I won't, but I may. I'll leave it as an option. Sailing John. Sailing John says he did Industrial Controls, PLC. I'm very familiar with that. That's a great industry to work. Traveled the entire country. A lot of beautiful places. Oh, definitely. Controls, PLC, working for companies like Johnson & Johnson, Siemens, these different control companies. There's tons of work in that field, and that's a great field to be in, and that's awesome. It's great, brother. I didn't know that. Sailing John says 2% on sailboats. Laugh out loud. Amen, John. I didn't forget about you. Now, you think there's 2% of... John, no, I would say it's still 1% too. 1% of society lives in, I would say probably even 1% of society or less lives in cars. I would say less than 0.5% live in boats. You think, well, I don't know. I saw a lot in Florida. They probably do live in boats. I'll say 1 and 1. I don't know if I give you 2%, but you're right. Don't forget about people living on their boats. Pack Live. West Coast is in the building. Hey, Sam. Laugh up emoji. What's up? Checking in, buddy. I appreciate you checking in. What's going on with you, Pack Live? What's the temperature in the West Coast and how are you doing? John, laugh out loud. It's good to laugh, brother. Don't forget about people living on their boats. American Writer. Any opinion on the Trump and Bannon feud? You know what? I saw that on my live feed today, but I didn't read the article enough to give you a good conversation. All I heard, I didn't click on the link. All I saw on the headline was Trump and Bannon started to beef with each other because Bannon and Trump's son had disagreements. Give me like the quick overview of what it was, and we just have fun conversation. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan. I know I'll probably get some people upset with this and leave. And I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump Jr. I'm not. I'm just not a fan. It is what it is. Some people are. I respect it. I'm not. I don't like hunting. He's a hunter for sport. I don't like his attitude, but it's just my personal opinion. I know some people love it. One other thing I've learned is people, for the most part, they're never going to change. Everybody likes who they like, and they're never going to change. Pack Live. Investment tips, electric car, bikes, vehicles, stocks, 2025 BMW will not have any gas vehicles anymore. Yeah, I mean, more and more we go to electric. That'll be the future, but the electric, you have to remember, the electric car still needs to plug into electrical outlet, and that still consumes power. And the electrical outlet, a lot of times, they're just coming from a power plant. And a lot of those power plants are fossil fuels. So you don't totally eliminate fossil fuels. And the time it'll take for society to get rid of total fossil fuels, it'd still be another generation away, in my opinion. But more and more we're gravitating towards electric. And I like that. I like alternate sustainable ways of living, solar, wind, etc., all that stuff. But what are my thoughts on any investments, Pack Live? So again, I'm a trader. So as a trader, I more look for price volatility and price action rather than I'm not an investor, right? An investor is looking at companies and they're looking at opportunities and they're trying to forecast the future. From a trader standpoint, I'm just more looking at opportunities to get in and out. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the way I like to use my money as far as risk. Now, I have a smaller percentage that I risk, and I have my majority of my worth, just in savings and stable funds. But the bucket of my risk that I trade with, that's how I do it, Pack Live, is that I look for price action and entry points and exit points. I'm not an investor. An investor is looking at the long term, and they're looking at trends, etc. Is there a right or wrong? There's no right or wrong. There's knowing yourself. There's failure. You have to get beat up. And then there's a little bit of luck. And then there's whatever you want to do with your risk money. Some people don't want to risk any money and they'd rather spend their money on vacations, and it's all relative. Some people want to spend their money on their house. Some people want to spend their money on their kids. Some people want to spend their money on whatever. It's whatever you want to do with your money. It's if you work for it, I say God bless. It's like like I say, I work. I always work. So, But for the most part, at this point in my life, most of my stuff I just conservative, and some stuff I play with. And I'm a trader. I'm not an investor. What about you? Are you an investor? American Writer. Me and American Writer often like to talk politics, and I like to do that too. So let me read what he has to say. Bannon said Trump Jr. committed treason, and Donald Trump said Bannon has lost his mind. Yeah, I did a video last night, my live feed yesterday was It Takes Two to Tango. And, I'm not a Trump fan. People know that for the most part. I think he has some things that he can do, that he has a good skill set, but I don't think he uses them for the good. I'm definitely not a fan of his son either. And Bannon, it takes two to tango. You are who you associate with to a certain point. And I remember Obama saying that, look at the people that surround him, and anybody, look at their friends, but we all have some bad friends, but, and too, as I thought it was real immature. I saw Trump's tweet, provoking again, North Korea, which again, he doesn't realize that China doesn't, I don't care what he says about North Korea, China doesn't want us there. And, he's, he basically said in his tweet that, he mocked, North Korea, that my, nuclear button is bigger than yours, and mine works. Now, it's cute and it's clever and it sounds tough, but the problem with bullies is, sometimes you got to call people on their bluff, but the problem with doing that is eventually somebody calls you on your bluff, right? Like, you look like you have a lot of bravado and a lot of toughness, but there's always a day for a bully that one time out of 20, there's going to be one person that doesn't give a fuck, and they call you on your bluff, and then you got to do some reckless shit to back up your mouth, and then, get everybody in trouble. So, but that's just who he is. That's what the American people wanted. They didn't want somebody to give lectures anymore. They wanted somebody to just tell it as it is. New Jersey wanted that for a while. We voted in Chris Christie, and we got 8 years or whatever, and we saw that, somebody talks tough like that, but they don't govern well. They don't lead by example well. They go to the beach while the rest of the beaches are closed. But that's human nature. We like people to tell it as it is until they don't do right. But yeah, I'm just not a fan. But again, I understand too. I try to be somewhat fair. Hillary ran a bad campaign. She was not a great choice. Overall, again, so how do you vote? You just vote on policy. What do you believe in? What type of policy? But there are a lot of people out there that they like the sound of less government, this and that, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's just the way they like to live. And you have to just, it is what it is. People aren't going to change their mind. But yeah, everybody's day comes. But the bottom line is presidents matter. Why? Because I think we'll end up with the same place that Reagan tax cuts ended. Basically end up after Reagan ended his office, we ended up in a huge recession. In the 90s, in the early 90s under Bush, and those tax cuts had implications. And then, Clinton got out of this. Look, Clinton's 8 years, this country was prosperous and peaceful. The problem is, he did a disgraceful act in office, and rightfully so, he was rebuked. And Hillary helped cover it up a little bit. So that's fair to say that, look, these guys are also a little bit crooked, okay? And then the Bush Jr., I thought that was a disgraceful. Again, Al Gore won the popular vote in 2000, but again, Bush won the electoral vote, just like last year. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Trump won the electoral vote. And just like under Bush Jr., we suffered. I thought that was some of the worst. Even Trump said, Bush Jr. may be one of the worst presidents we ever had. Total disaster to 8 years. And when he left, it was a disaster. This country in 2006 and 7, Obama, people say whatever. I remember working with people and they were going to take all their money out of the bank because they thought the entire system was going to collapse. So, Obama's leadership brought us back. We got Bin Laden with 2 helicopters and 2 dogs. Um, 12 guys. We have to go to war. I liked Obama. I thought he did an overall good job. Some social issues, he didn't lead strong. He was a little bit passive. That's his nature. But I thought overall he did a good job. I thought overall he took a lot of shit. I wouldn't take that much shit. I mean, but Trump is a little bit similar to me. I wouldn't take that much shit. But there's a balance. I don't believe in being totally Trump. I believe in a little bit of Trump where you don't take enough shit. But, two is you got to take a little shit. If you're going to be in that position, you got to realize a part of that position comes with taking a little shit. And as you get older in life, you kind of respect people that don't let you abuse them. But they, you realize as a leader, everybody is not mature as you. But I know I'm just about to end my politic talk here. Then we'll go on. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, overall, his first year, I mean, as long as we don't go to war, I'll deal with it. Look, I don't like his policy. I don't like that. As long as he don't send us to war, I'll deal with it. But if we go to war, I'll be very pissed. Because to me, that's the worst thing a president can do. Unless you're faced with like a World War II and you're dealing with a guy like Hitler, then you gotta get rid of those type of guys. You don't want that type of evil to exist in the world. But if he's provoking other people and we go to war, I mean, it'd be a tragedy. That's my overall opinion on that. Or just sharing, just talking about politics. That's part of life. I know some people don't like talking about it, and they get the dislike going. And, some points too, like I get a dislike, and then I'll go to the next comment. I get a thumbs down. Sometimes what people don't realize that, they throw a little hate on you and they give you the thumbs down. That, to be honest with you, even as a YouTube creator, like even when you get a thumbs down, it's actually a positive for your channel. Why? Because when you get a thumbs up or a thumbs down, it shows that you're interacting with your audience, and that rates your video as more viewable. So sometimes people think, well, I'll show this fucking guy, and they give you like thumbs down. They actually help the channel. So certainly give a thumbs up. I don't like to see a thumbs down, but I think that's ironic, because I used to be like that. I used to say, fuck that, I'm going to give them thumbs down. But they don't realize that actually helps the channel. Now, please give as many thumbs up, because a little boost for my confidence. But, just always know that too. Like I see sometimes people threaten, like, I thumbs down and I'm this, that. But just make a mental note that when you give a thumbs down, it's actually still helping the channel. So when you really hate something, you just leave and you don't do anything and you never come back. That's probably the worst thing you can do. It's a boycott. Same principle as life. Store. I'm sharing all this to share with you because, look, I'm just honest, but I don't give a fuck. I mean, I enjoy doing this, but it is what it is. So, like, when you really want to affect, like, some type of boycott change, you don't participate at all. You totally withdraw from that thing. Now, the problem is a lot of times that thing will still go on without you. Like, I know there's been some YouTube channels that I still watch, but I unsubscribe just like out of principle. Like, fuck that guy. I'm not going to subscribe to him, but I still watch. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, look, I'm human too. Come on, you know what I'm saying? But I find that interesting. I got in a tangent. I'm sorry about that, but I just started sharing. Pack Live. Let me drink a glass of water. Well, a jug of water. Excuse me, guys. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated out there, please, guys. Praise the Lord. All right, Pack Live, I'm coming, brother. Just gotta blow my nose. I'm coming, brother. Live from the car in a winter weather advisory. It's still pretty warm, though. Pack Live. He says, my home and 4 other rentals all have Solar City. Well, that's, and Solar City, I believe, is owned out by Tesla now. Renter love it. Yeah, well, yeah, I believe Tesla bought Solar City. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. American Writer, you know, you're my fact checker. But yeah, I believe they bought them out. And so they're going to play off each other. I mean, eventually, I believe, obviously, cars will have solar sensors all on the cars, and the cars will get some of their energy from that, but we're a little bit away from that. But that's cool that you have that. I mean, definitely in California too, they believe in that sustainable model. So I think that's very cool. Is solar worth it? Most times, no. I had a guy ask me that in a private message. Why don't I do solar? I don't think it's worth it. You know, you can't, well, not maybe for a house, but I'm talking about now if you're going to live off the grid, as far as like mobile. For a house is a different story. But for like a mobile, why isn't it worth it? Because really all you can do is like keep your electronics charged and maybe run a fan or something. It's not worth the return on investment. It's not worth the aggravation and having to, you know, having the sunlight or do whatever. because you can't run an air conditioner, you can't run a heater off it. It's just basically to charge electronics and maybe run a fan or two. Not worth it. For me, I like things simple. You guys know that. Everyone's different. Am I against it? No. I am for whatever you want to do, as long as it don't hurt nobody. All right? Next comment. Sailing John. Awesome. You're cool with it. I know your thing, and everyone else here is a car/RV. I did 2 seasons, he says, in our 34 Holiday Rambler boat, Rambler before boat. So I'm in. Laugh out loud. Amen. Well, you know, Sailing John, I'll see you in Florida next winter, brother. And you're going to tell me where you're docked, or we can meet in a neutral location, and we can toast one. I'll have a Starbucks pike, a small pike with soy milk on the side, and you can have your drink of choice, and we're going to toast to the nomad life. You being a nomad on your sailboat, me being a nomad out of my Jeep Renegade. Now, Sailing John, are you up to 100 subscribers yet? If you guys have not checked out Sailing John's videos, he's still only got a few. He's working on them, but he's got a YouTube channel. His goal is to get to 100 subscribers. Last time I checked, I think he was around 90. Pack Live. 2 tenants have Teslas. There you go. Drive about 80 miles to San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, there's a lot of Tesla charger stations around here where I'm at, and I also saw some on I-95 in Maryland at the rest stops. There's Tesla charger stations. So they're becoming more and more popular. Is Tesla worth it? Still no, in my opinion. I mean, it's just a luxury car that has a battery. You'd be better off getting a Chevy Spark, which is a gas-powered small economic car for $15,000. Because if you get a Tesla, I mean, you're gonna. I know they're making a cheaper one supposedly for $30,000, still not on the market right now. If you buy a Tesla, you're probably gonna spend like $80,000. So, are you gonna save that amount of gas over the course of that time? Hell no. You'd be better off buying a $15,000, $20,000 cheap, small little car, and you know, because you're never gonna save $50,000 worth of gas over the course of a car's lifetime. It's a luxury automobile. Now, a little bit of it, Tesla and what's his name, who's the founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, he's a little bit disingenuous because he made his majority money, I believe, off being the co-founder of PayPal. Then he took that money, and one of the companies he invested was with Tesla. But Tesla almost went bankrupt. You know, it saved them government funds, different grants. A grant is when a business applies for federal free money, and that the federal government will give you money. Why? If you have some type of mission statement that will overall help society. I'm paraphrasing the basic principle of a grant. So his grant was for sustainable energies, etc., etc. And he did push the ball forward, and I believe it was mainly under the Obama association, under the Obama administration. So he got that bailout money for his company because Tesla would have went under without it. And he got that grant money, and then he was able to sustain his company and start growing. But what I found was disingenuous. So then he gets the government taxpayer money to build the company up. And what does he do? He sells luxury automobiles. Now, I know he's getting ready, his 3rd, 4th edition, to come out with a $30,000 car for the regular guy. But he pushed the conversation forward, Elon Musk, with innovation. I give him credit. But also, I feel he's disingenuous, where he took taxpayers' money and he made luxury, unaffordable electric cars for the average person. The average person makes $50,000 a year. Now, I know you live in California. I know jobs are good. And, of course, if you're by Silicon Valley, there's exceptions. I mean, even here in the New York area, I mean, Teslas are flying around. When I was in Palm Beach, there's Teslas around. But that's still not, you know, that's the 10% of society. So, again, you'd be better off the middle grade if you didn't want gas and you want a hybrid. I did the video. You spend $25,000 on a Prius, 50 miles per gallon. You'd still be better off than buying an $80,000 Tesla that's all electric, because you're never going to save $50,000 worth of gas over the course of a lifetime. It's a luxury car. It's not an energy sustainable car. It's as far as saving on money, etc. It's a gimmick to some extent. I'm just sharing my thoughts on it. Good comments. Let me go back to the comments. Sailing John says, they sound like a couple of high school kids. Oh, yeah, when I was talking about Trump and Bannon. Oh, yeah, they are. They're immature. I mean, all politicians fight, too. I want to be fair. They all fight. They all bicker. And people love it. You know, we love a little bit. I mean, look, we know what we were, the country knew what they were getting when they voted Trump. He was drama. Obama was boring conservative a little bit. Trump's drama. He's entertaining. And, it's just like dating. It's the same thing like dating a chick. I mean, or dating a guy. There are certain people you date, and it's going to be a boring, predictable life. Then there's certain people you date, you figure, well, I probably shouldn't date this person, but they're exciting to be around. They're entertaining. And so you figure you roll a dice. The problem I have with that is most times dealing with that drama, you get burnt. It's fun in the beginning. It's exciting. It's entertaining. But then long term, you get burnt. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous about Trump, but we'll see. Laugh out loud, John. No kidding. Yeah, American Writer's laughing with you, Sailing John. American Writer. To me, life is a balance. Well, I think that's wisdom. Now, what I've come to learn in life is the word balance is all relative. Some people say, Sam, you're living on a fucking car. That ain't balanced to me. And it isn't. For some people, this is very extreme. I'm living an extreme lifestyle in extreme weather. I mean, like I said, last night it was 8 degrees, living in your car with no heat. That's crazy for some people. But for me, I feel more balanced than ever. I felt like out of balance being in a condo, being in a house. So it's all relative to who your uniqueness is. But I do believe that I always say that knowing yourself is the beginning of making better life decisions and putting yourself in better position. So part of finding your balance is finding yourself and developing yourself and refining yourself. And that's a never-ending process. Because also for a certain amount of years of my life, I enjoyed living a conventional life in my house, etc., etc. So it's all relative. Sailing John. I see your channel is over 100,000 views. Oh, yeah, you see that? I did get over 100,000 views. Thank you. Thank you to you guys. Yeah, I broke the 100,000 view mark. It's encouraging. I'll tell you that. Be honest with you, I started in July, I believe July 21st, something like that. So I've basically been on YouTube with this channel for about 4 or 5 months, 100,000 views. To me, that's a blessing. It's encouraging. The first couple months, I was like ready to give up. It was, felt like you never get any traction. But the key to everything is consistency, and then, grace of God, and some close people supported me. I know, like, some of my friends would watch it sometimes, and they would just hit the like button, like, to encourage me, and I'm thankful for that. And sometimes I'd be the only person watching my videos. Now I'm at the point where I'm blocking people. And it's like, Sam, you're blocking people? You used to wish you'd have somebody to block. So, I don't know. It's like the irony of life, I mean, I'm being honest with you here now. But, it's like, it's just weird. It's the YouTube channel. But I am thankful I did it. It fulfills a creative need for me. It also fulfills a connection need that I like to spend most of the time by myself, but I also know that it's part of mentally helpful and helpful to be connected to people. And this is just a good platform for me that I'm not overcommitted to a relationship, but I have relationships. And so, like, I would get too overwhelmed and anxious to go to somebody's house because I got to go through that whole process of getting there in a certain time. Then when I get there, like as soon as I get there, I want to leave. I got to act like I'm having a good time, even if I'm not. And it's just a whole process. Like I say, even checking into a hotel room, I don't want to do. Why? Check in, check out, this and that. Gotta get the key, gotta go up to the room. Who slept in this room? Who slept in that room? Are these sheets clean? Blah, 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 blah. I don't like all that. The people don't understand that, but I'm saying all that to say, like this right here, I'm in my own space. You're in your own space. John's on a boat. Dana's in her room. American Writer's in Arizona. And we're all connected, but we all have our own space. I like that. American Writer, I'm surprised the water isn't frozen. No, it will be tonight, but right now it's I just picked this up from the supermarket about 2 hours ago. This isn't the stuff from last night. So when this sits in my car overnight, yeah, it'll be ice chips in it, like it was when I was when I slept. The past few nights it's been like that. But it's cold. It's cold. Definitely don't need a refrigerator living in your car in this weather. Let me tell you that, brother. My bananas, too, when I woke up this morning, now these are fresh ones, but the bananas, when I woke up, I could barely eat them because they were, like, frozen. You got to have two for everybody who's in the outdoor environments, or even if you're not. You got to have Vaseline or chapstick. Because when you blow your nose a lot, it gets raw skin because, all the paper towel and the tissue. So you got to keep moisturizer on your lips and on your nose. Now, even if you have dogs, especially if Dana's still in here, that's one thing I regret. When my dog got older, I didn't understand that. I should have put more Vaseline on her nose because her nose started to crack a lot in the cold weather and as she got older. And so make sure you buy yourself some petroleum jelly, some Vaseline. Not for what you think I'm going to say it's for, but for, keep your lips and your nose properly moisturized is basically what it's doing. In that cold weather, that's what you need to do. It's another one of those small tips that, you don't want to have chapped lips, and you don't want to have like a raw skin around your nose from blowing your nose in the cold weather. It's not good. No Man's Land, NYC's in the building. Hey, Sam, I saw a guy renting a sailboat on Craigslist for $500 a month. Laugh out loud. God bless. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it because I don't like that motion, that constant motion, but that's just me. So, again, life's all about knowing yourself and then, living a life according to what you want to, what inspires you. Yeah, that's interesting. That's cheap, man. $500 a month. That's cheap. NDC. Fiscal policy is welfare payment for the wealthy. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, right, there's regular welfare for people who live in poverty, and then there's corporate welfare. That's part of it. Could be considered that tax bill, etc. So, that's the thing. Sometimes people who are on the conservative side, they say, the social programs get abused by the people. But again, 90% of the people are in those programs. A lot of times Republicans convince poor people that they're rich. I don't know. But, for the average person, they're middle or lower class, let's face it. 10% are pretty much, above that. But, look, there's also a lot of people, including myself. Look, I'm doing good. This country's good. So I want to be fair that a lot of people do well in this world. But a lot of people don't. But I don't believe in like government total assistance and total welfare, but I just believe in basic government principles. Like I do believe in government health insurance. I do believe in government, basic, safety net programs, senior citizen, social security programs. That's part of socialism. But I don't believe in a government-run society, but I believe in government and private sector. But what I'm trying to say is all that money that's out there and all the money that we spend playing war games with North Korea and the tax breaks we give corporations and that cigarettes are still legal, all the money those guys are making. I mean, just pay for healthcare for the country. I mean, like I say, Europe's got it, Canada's got it. These guys are doing all right, man. I mean, it's not rocket science, but I'm not saying that. Look, I mean, there's been plenty of speculation too as we continue to advance into the technology era, that as jobs become limited and more automation comes, that eventually governments are just going to have to siphon and pay citizens a certain flat amount of money, especially as the middle and lower class get lower and lower. The middle class is falling off because there's not long-term 30-year jobs anymore. And look, Alaska, which is mainly a Republican state, the people that live in that state, they get a monthly subsidy from oil companies. I worked with a guy, I think he gets like a couple $100s a month. That's a Republican state, basically, Alaska. That's from where Sarah Palin's from, okay? And they get a subsidy from the government, which is like a kickback from the oil companies, because oil companies drill the shit out of certain Alaskan territory. And so they pay the government to do that, and then basically they give a back kick to all the citizens of Alaska. It's not much. It's a couple $100s a month. But what I'm trying to say is eventually there's going to be some type of dividend that's going to have to be given out for, look, you can't survive off, I don't even know how people survive off $15 an hour, to be honest with you. I don't know how you can do it. But, but these are just my general thoughts. Sailing John. Cool, looking forward to it, Sam. I'm having a Heineken. Yeah, amen. I used to, then he gives a laugh up emoji. I used to like Heineken. I would say when I was drinking, my main beer choice was Corona with lime. But I also enjoyed Heineken as my backup. I never got into the Guinness, into the heavy stout type beers. But I used to enjoy the Heineken. Yeah, that used to be one I used to like too. Now, certainly when I was young, we drank whatever was cheap. St. Ives, Old English. And then as I got older, then it was Corona or Heineken. And those were the beers of choice when I was coming up. Sailing John. Nomad, I've been sailing for over 40 years. Wow. Heard of that. But guess if you can't afford to buy one, Some are very inexpensive. He's doing something. Yeah, I mean, $500 a month to rent a boat is very cheap. But yeah, from people I know that have boats, unless you're living out of them. Now, if you're living out of it, you're making good use of your money. But if you just have boat as a recreational vehicle, it's a money pit. Especially now if you live in New Jersey, because I know people. The amount of, in New Jersey, you could pretty much only use your boat for maybe 6 to 4 months out of the year. If you also have a house in a boat, it's tough because, you got to pay to have it somewhere. A lot of people take their boat out of the water in the winter. And, of course, you have different, anytime you move in a boat in and out of water, you got the extreme weather. I mean, that's a lot of money. In addition to having a mortgage, in addition to having a car payment, in addition to having all these other things in life. So, but obviously, Sailin' John's living out of his boat. So, if that's your primary residence, then it's all makes sense. But these are the interesting things I find in life. American writer. Some hotels have bed bugs. Oh, I agree with that. That's also scares me about going to a hotel. Like I said, I like being in my own space with my own sheets. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'm almost like Trump. A lot of times, how Trump didn't like to shake hands with people? At work and stuff, I don't shake hands. I give the pound. Because I don't like germs. So it's sleeping on somebody else's bed kind of repulses me. Hard to explain, but this is how I feel. NDC. In Canada, we lost $81 billion to tax evasion in the year 2015. That's half our total healthcare costs for 1 year. Wow, that's an interesting statistic. NDC, it's good to hear your thoughts on things, man. Very researched. Thank you, NDC. Sailing John. And from my understanding of Canada, too, though, but overall, your economy is doing great from my understanding of it. I know in the different businesses that I kind of work with, I don't like to say specific, but it continues to be said that you want a footprint in Canada, especially in certain technology fields, because you're in a little bit of a sweet spot where you don't have a lot of natural disasters, and because of the cold climate, for different IT buildings, the cold climate can be used to cool different infrastructure that houses some of electronic equipment, and so that cold air can be used in a sustainable, natural way to almost subsidize cooling costs. You understand what I'm saying? So Canada, for different reasons, is also attractive to different technology fields. Sailing John. Man, I'm speaking a lot tonight. Well, I like it. I'm glad when you get comments. I don't like speaking to the wind. Thank you for speaking. What's up with that? Fired up? Laugh out loud. Hey, man, well, your part-time job's going good. You got a Heineken that you're enjoying. And, your countdown's on to Florida. Life's good. Why shouldn't you speak up? Thank you for speaking up. No Man's Land. Sam, the guy's renting the sailboat like it's a studio apartment. Yeah, laugh out loud. Hey, I'm not mad at him. Look, whatever works for you. You know my motto. Look, if you ain't hurting nobody, I don't care what the hell you do. And if you ain't, so I say God bless, man. God bless. That's what I say. No Man's Land. Not a big drinker, but once in a while. Amen, Sailing John. Hey, if you're not hurting nobody and that's what you want to do, I'm not mad at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. Praise the Lord. I'm not having a Heineken, but I'm having some Poland spring water. I don't have my McDonald's cup. I threw it out because it was cold. I didn't feel like sucking on that ice. Usually I like to get my Diet Coke to drink with my salad for my dinner. And after I drank, I said, let me throw this cup out because I didn't want to suck on the ice because it was cold as hell. So that's why I went and got a Starbucks. But now I regret not keeping my cup with ice because I don't have to pour in. Oh, show enough from Oklahoma. MacGyver lived on a boat. He was my hero. You remember? Good to see you, show enough. Good evening. You remember MacGyver? Remember that TV sitcom? That was I wasn't a huge fan, but I think that used to come on after the A-Team. I was a big A-Team guy. I loved the A-Team. But MacGyver was a pretty cool show, and yeah, that guy used to rig up everything. Like he had a solution. I didn't know he lived on a boat. Is that true? He lived on a boat? Show enough? I didn't remember that. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't know that. Sailing John. Nomad, check out my videos. It's an awesome living space. Much better videos coming when I'm southbound. Amen. Are you up to 100 subscribers yet? But yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know MacGyver lived on a boat. Yeah, he used to make contraptions up of all different types of stuff. I don't remember the actor's name. Anybody remember the actor's name from what happened to that guy? Somebody Google MacGyver. What does he look like now? Is he real old? He's got to be old. Yeah, sometimes I watch TV shows, especially like if there's a hot chick in there or something, like from back in the day, and then I Google her name to see what does she look like now. Let me tell you something. I don't care how hot you are. Like the Bible says, beauty fades. A woman who loves the Lord is to be praised. Beauty fades, man. You see some like you think J-Lo was never gonna crack? Like, she's in her late 40s, early 50s. Let me tell you something. 10, 15 years, J-Lo, it's not gonna be everybody's dream to look like J-Lo. It's not. But that's his problem. Like, as people think, like, people look up to J-Lo, like, oh, she's my hero. She looks good, so old. But look, she's got great genes. But eventually, all of us, as we get older, our bodies deteriorate. Not much you can do. Show Enough says, I think it was like a floating dock thing. Yeah, I have to look into that. That's interesting. I remember MacGyver. No Man's Land. I will sailing. Hands up emoji. NDC. Sam, love the attitude. Thank you, brother. Have you ever worked on a motorcycle? No, I haven't. And do you do the maintenance on your vehicle yourself, or do you take it to the shop? I enjoy maintaining motorbikes, so I do it myself. Well, one is respect to that, brother. Now, I don't like working with my hands. When I started my career, I started as an electrician. I work with my hands. I don't like working with my hands. I'm into engineering now. But I don't like to do anything. I have the ability to do some, but I don't like to do anything. So as I've known myself and then as I work and I don't have to do everything by myself. Now, I know some people enjoy working with their hands, like you're saying. I don't like to do anything. I go to Vaseline oil. It's Instant Express, like it's a place you drive up, and like it's like an empty floor, and they take the oil cap, they drain the oil, and you're in and out of the oil change hopefully within 15 minutes. That's the type of thing I do. I don't do anything on my car. Now, if I have like a headlight out, etc., I'll change that. But as far as like oil changes and stuff, no, I don't, only because I don't enjoy it. I respect people that do enjoy it. And I also said we all have different gifts. Like I know one guy that I know good, he just renovated his kitchen. I hate doing that shit. I hated it when I had my house. I did it a couple times. But he loved it. He said, Sam, look, I know you don't like it, but it's like I enjoy doing it. I say, God bless. But yeah, to answer your question, thank you for the comment. Yeah, no, I don't do any work. I don't want to do any work myself other than like, change a light bulb or something like that. And I pray I don't have any problems. How long will I keep my Renegade? I don't know. I'm still totally inspired. I don't want to get rid of it. On average, I probably keep my cars no longer than 6 years. But this is like the first car I've ever lived out of. I put a lot of miles on it. I've had it for just about 2 years, and I got 70,000 miles on it. So how long will it last? I don't know. This is like the highest mileage I've ever had on any one car. So, I changed the oil pretty much when I'm supposed to change it. I mean, that's about it. So we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, I would like to keep this as long as possible for my foreseeable future. But we'll see. That's going to be an interesting part of my nomad journey too, to see how that unfolds. But I have so much flexibility. If God forbid there's something major happens here, then I'll probably just get another car. If my car went today, God forbid, what would I get? I don't know. I mean, for a while I thought, well, my next car would be like a small Ford Transit Connect, because then I could put like a little mattress back there and have a little bit more privacy. I don't know if I would do that. It would be between that, another Renegade or Jeep Compass, or a Toyota Prius. That Toyota Prius inspired me. I would say, right now, I'll just say my top four, if God forbid my Jeep Renegade went today, I would buy another Jeep Renegade, Jeep Compass, Ford Transit Connect, or a Toyota Prius. Just for fun talk. That's what I would do. Let me go back to some comments here. Edison Eagle, what's going on? South Edison's in the building. Have you ever driven to Florida straight through from NJ? Where's a good first stop arriving in Florida off I-95? Great question, Edison Eagle. I asked myself that when I first started this journey. So, yes. My very first time in a car, which was actually last fall, was my first time driving to Florida. I flew many times. I don't like flying. But last year, when I first started this journey, that was my first time driving from New Jersey to Florida. I drove straight through down there. and I drove straight through back. It was almost like death because you fight to stay awake, and it feels like the I-95 will never end. Once you get to South Carolina, you think you'll be there soon, but South Carolina is so long that if you don't stop, you feel like you never end. I repeat, I do not recommend driving all the way there, and I do not recommend driving all the way back. I recommend doing the trips in 2 days. The first day, you leave early in the morning, 7 a.m., hopefully on a weekday. Your biggest traffic areas are going to be in the Washington, D.C. area. When you have to go around I-95, if you do your Google Map quest, you're going to take you like on 2 I-95. There's a circle around, if you Google Maps it, around like Washington, D.C. The traffic by Maryland, Washington, D.C. and Virginia is out. You think like New York traffic's crazy? That traffic's crazy too. Those roads are always packed. So you have to be mindful. You don't ever want to be in rush hour around the Washington, D.C. area. You don't. Believe me. I've been there a few times. So my recommendation is you wake up on a weekend, say Saturday, 7 a.m., you leave, you I-95 south, Google Map quest it, whatever. You're going to go, the only time you're going to go off I-95 is going to be like in the Washington, D.C. area. I think it puts you on 2 I-95, and then you go back on I-95. What I recommend then is stopping at South Carolina or North Carolina, at the end of North Carolina, and sleeping there in a rest stop, in a Walmart, in a hotel room, whatever. Then that's halfway. Then you wake up the next day at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever. Then you go the rest of the way, you go straight into Florida. And you get to Jacksonville. And then depending on where you want to go from there, Jacksonville is pretty much your first landing area into. Then you have to, are you going all the way down to Miami? That's like another 5-6 hours. Are you going to go to the west coast of Tampa? That's also probably about another 5 hours from Jacksonville. So, but to get to Florida, just to get to Jacksonville, you want to do it in 2 days. First day, on a weekend, preferably so you don't hit rush hour in Washington. 7 a.m., let's say, around 7 a.m., you leave, 7 p.m., you get around the beginning of South Carolina. The beginning of South Carolina, you're going to hit the south of the border right on the left-hand side. If JPM is in the chat room, she'll represent for that. If not, I may have lost JPM because she got mad at me for getting mad at Trump, so she may not be a viewer anymore. And then the next day you wake up, then you go from South Carolina to Jacksonville. So same thing. Then when you come back up, you leave Florida, you leave Jacksonville, you get all the way up to about you'll get all the way up to North Carolina, you sleep there, and then the rest of the way you go back to Jersey. 2-day trip to do it right. Don't try to do it in 1 day. I did it 1 day. It was painful and it was horrible. Driving tired is worse than driving drunk. Never forget it. Good question. And then final part of that. So then when I get to Florida, I went to Jacksonville to experience it. But in my opinion, brother, what I would recommend for you is once you get to Florida, stay on the East Coast, take Highway A1, take I-95 south to Highway A1A, and then right below Jacksonville is the first town I would personally stop in is St. Augustine. St. Augustine and St. Augustine Beach. It's the oldest city in the United States of America. It's part of our history of the exploration of America. First, I believe it was the Native Americans, then the French, then Spanish settlers, and then it evolved into, of course, the United States of America. But that's the first town that I would put on my X, St. Augustine and St. Augustine Beach. Once I get into Florida, and then I like to travel all down the East Coast. But of course, you'll have to experience what you like yourself, but that's my opinion and my recommendation. Sailing John, and you pray the oil boys put the plug in straight. Laugh out loud. I do. Because believe me, you're right, John. When I've gone to Lube Express a few times, Vaseline Quick Oil Lube, I get nervous. And after I get my oil changed, I get out of that quick lube, and then I park, and then I look under my car to make sure I don't see any leaks. And for my car, it's even a little bit more nervous because I have undercarriage cover that the guy, like underneath the floor, he's got to take these bolts out to take the guard off around it. A normal car that doesn't have like off-roading, they don't have like that undercarriage cover, and so they just pop the bolt and they let the oil come out. So that guy's struggling to get the bolts out. I was like, I hope this guy puts everything back together. So after I get my oil changed, I pull over to the side of the road, then I look under my car, make sure I don't see any leaks. Always do that when you go to a quick oil lube. But, you know, I'd rather them do it, even be a little scared, than me do it, because I don't want to do that. I'm not crawling under my car, and I'm not doing that. Oh, Trucy's in the building. I think a person from Canada. Hey, Sammy. Hey, brother. I'm sitting at my girlfriend's apartment, and she is laughing because I shaved my head today, and I'm wearing a toque, and she says, boy crush. Hey, man. Brother, I think it's wisdom. One is, praise the Lord. Two is, yeah, man. I mean, hey, you got to love yourself, man. Shaved head, dreadlocks, hippie hair, doesn't matter. If you feel good about you, that's all that counts. Now, when you have a girlfriend, believe me, you may be getting away with it now, but you ain't gonna, like, if you grow a beard or if you shave your head and she don't want you to shave your head, that ain't gonna last long, okay? Now, when it's just like your girlfriend in the beginning, that'll last. But like once she's serious and once you start getting like fiance, we're gonna have babies together, you're her accessory, okay? So if she likes the way you look without a beard, you ain't having a beard, okay? You're her accessory. You're her bag. And it's cute now, but she ain't gonna, you know, when you get the, are you gonna wear that? Are you gonna do that with your hair? Are you gonna wear that beard? When are you gonna shave? Why do you think I'm single? Now, am I against you and your girlfriend being lovers for the rest of your life? No. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you're up there, having a beautiful relationship. All I'm trying to say is, be yourself, brother. Shaved head or no head, man crush or whatever. It's just be you. Don't let anyone control you. That's my message. The same thing with you with a girl. I mean, some girls, they get a lot of pressure from guys. I used to get sometimes, I want you to wear this. I want you to look like this. Stay in this shape. Look, if you're playing that game, it's no good. It's no good. That's how you live a life of resentment, okay? Don't let anyone dress you. Now, some people want to be dressed. I don't know. I met some guy that said, I like the girl. She picks out my clothes. I don't want to pick out my clothes. I don't want that. But that's why I'm single living in a car. So don't follow my example if you want to be married with 2 kids. You understand what I'm saying? It's all relative. But thank you for sharing, brother. Good to see you, Trucy. No Man's Land says, Prius for me, Sam. And then he gave the muscle emoji. Yeah, that Prius was pretty cool, right, No Man's Land? Those Priuses were hot, man. And, man, that was a beautiful day in Florida, too, man. It was like 80 degrees. I was taking a look at those Prius, man. I could see myself in one of them. I'm blessed with the Jeep Renegade. But, yeah, that opened my eyes to that Prius living. Sailing John, think it's going to take me a little over a month stopping by all the states and seaports. St. Augustine first, Florida stop. Amen. You're going to love St. Augustine. A lot of boats in St. Augustine. On the inlet there, I should have took a video of that, but I was like, man, like, sometimes I didn't want to stop and take a video. All I will tell you is to anyone traveling, don't rush. You're gonna fight a human instinct to rush, to get to a certain place by a certain time. I tell you, you have to fight that urge and slow down. Take your time. Stop at different areas like Sailing John saying, rest. Look out the window. Don't rush. Enjoy the journey. You have to fight your human instinct. Our human instinct is we want to get there, we want to get back. I don't know why, but that's how we're wired. We have to slow ourselves down. And as I make that trip more times, and as I live my life, and as I get older, I've learned that maturing quality of not rushing. That's wisdom. Don't rush. Enjoy the journey. Praise the Lord. Winter weather advisory. And then Sailing John gave me the 2 laugh up emoji. Yes, I'm talking reckless about being in a relationship. And that's what it is, man. I mean, anybody in here been in a relationship, they know what it is. And the chicks know. I mean, girl, everybody knows what it is. That's what it is. NDC, loving the insightfulness, Sam. Thank you, brother. And I appreciate the comments. I'm very thankful for the comments because I don't want to just sit here and talk to myself. I'll do it, but I don't want to. So at least this helps me too. So I'm very thankful for all you guys. It's a blessing. It's a 2-way street, And nobody could tell me like, Sam, you better shave or Sam, you know what I mean? Because I could just block. That's the type of relationship I like. Like if somebody says, Sam, I want you to, you guys see me, I block a lot of people. I feel bad. Some people like have really been a blessing in my life. And they've really been an encouragement. I feel bad, so I have to block. And sometimes maybe I block a little quick, but I don't know. I can't help it. That's the way I am. I just don't want to deal with bullshit. I don't know. We're just different people, but I don't want to get negative. What am I saying? I'm saying all that to say, look, life's too short to be with people that don't inspire you. And even sometimes when people inspire you, you don't want to fight your inner circle. That's all I can say. You don't want to be with somebody who tells you how to dress. You don't want to be with somebody who tells you how to look. You don't want to be with somebody you don't feel safe with. You don't want to be with somebody you have to justify yourself to. You want to be with somebody, yes, that makes you better. You want to be with somebody, yes, that makes you think. But you don't want to be with somebody that you have to go tit for tat with. Look, if you like Trump, you're always going to like Trump. For the most part. That's what I learned. If you like it, it is what it is. Some people are a little bit neutral, but look, at the end of the day, people say they're open-minded, but most people, they're going to like who they're going to like. I don't care which sermon you give on the Mount. They've already decided, and so have we. But I say all that to say, do people ever change? Sometimes they do. Once in a while, you do meet somebody, say, you know what, thank God I met you, I've changed my mind on something. Most times people don't. So is it all worth it? It's worth it, but you just have to be mindful. Don't get too discouraged. Because, people are just going to be who they are. And you just have to be who you are. And if and that's it. Just worry about yourself. Treat people right. Treat yourself well. And if somebody can get inspired along the way, praise the Lord. That's it. NDC, please block the negative. Thank you, brother. I'm here for positive. Me too. Positive expression. When you block someone negative, you're showing respect to your subscribers, Sam. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, NDC. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your understanding. Like I say, I want the best for everybody, even people I block. Now, certainly there's some people that come in here on some completely reckless stuff, man. It's a no-brainer to block them. Now, this is a life lesson, because I'm trying to tell you, I'm running a YouTube channel, but this is how I run my life. You understand what I'm saying? It's not just, you have to block people in real life, not just on the virtual YouTube world. And that's the hard part. The hard part's not the person who comes in here like on some, you know what I mean, like, evil, racist, disrespectful thing. Those are the easy people to block because you don't want them in your life. It's the person that, they're overall kind of positive, but they're either really disagree with you on political or philosophy, or they're always like, they're not really like hurting you, but they're always like nudging you, like to think like them. And, and then you feel like, you're nudging them to think like you. And it's like you're in like a competition. I don't want to, look, if you don't want to believe something different, I'm not here to make people convert to anything or believe in any philosophy or political. I have to express myself. And it's like, but those are the people you struggle with should you block. Because it's not like like I said, the asshole that comes in like all crazy, you block that guy. Or girl or thing or whatever they are. And, but it's always the person like in between. Or that's a lot of times good, but sometimes bad. And this is real life, not just YouTube. You have to decide at some point in your journey, do I cut them off too? My answer? Yeah. Now, but that being said, a lot of people wouldn't want to live like, I live, a very solitude life. But I have a lot of good relationships too. See now, in the beginning when I started cutting people out of my life, it was lonely and sad. But then, what I learned in life, as I stayed consistent in, like my man NDC said, respecting myself and my environment to only have those who I feel, in my opinion, that I feel are healthy for me, other healthy relationships started to develop. I started meeting people like, man, I thought I'd never meet another person that was this like-minded and positive. I started meeting other people, and like, you think you'll never meet new friends and new connections? And if you keep, that's the key, if you keep the unhealthy relationships blocked out, eventually that makes room for new healthy relationships. And then you're really surprised that there's other people out there that, really, will really add value to your life. The key is consistency, right? Because, like when you have a blow up with somebody, like, fuck that person, I ain't fucking with them no more. And then, you feel bad, or time goes on, you think, well, let me check in, I feel bad, let me talk to him again. And then, you get back to him, or you talk to him again. And then 10 months down the line, you say, oh, vote for Trump. What are you fucking for? And he go right back to where you were 10 months ago. He said, I should have fucking never let this person back in my life. I don't know. That's why, in my opinion, people are who they are. Like Maya Angelou said, as soon as someone shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them the first time. Can people change? Yes, but they have to want to, and it's not your job to change them. these are my thoughts. That being said, I want to respect the time. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. I want to thank everyone for joining. It was a blessing of a night, positive night, helpful night for me. Thank you. Please keep warm wherever you are in Canada, in the States, Arizona. American writer, 75 degrees. No man's land. We're over here in the frozen tundra. Not as cold as Canada, but it's still cold. And love and respect to everyone. Go in peace. Keep pushing forward in your life. If you fall, we all fall. You get back up. Okay? You get back up. That's all. And we go from there. All right? Peace and love, guys. Thank you, everyone.